Scaled that up to like 20K a month in high school.
No, wait, first of all, I'm about to just get up off this chair right now.
I literally was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm getting a phone call. Like, can I call you? Never called her
Never called
back.
again?
Never called her back. Never called her back.
Like you made about, I think about $157,000, honestly, in 1 month with all your properties.
I think the video was 180, but yes.
Oh, excuse me.
No.
Oh, whoa.
No,
okay.
no.
My bad.
No.
Oh,
I'm
wait
just
a minute.
like-
All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Convos with Bishop. My name is Bishop. As I always say, it's a great day to have a great day. And today I am sitting with a lovely, lovely guest that is in the Airbnb hosting space, a great entrepreneur. She runs and also manages 57 properties throughout the whole entire world. She is I'll say what, like an eight-figure entrepreneur right now?
Yeah.
Eight-figure entrepreneur, about, 6 figures, even a month, even more. Just a person who's actually very, very knowledgeable, not only in that space, but also she's teaching other people how to do the same by making a minimum of $10,000 a month. The next billionaire mogul entrepreneur.
Wow.
And guess what? Here's the crazy part too. I forgot the biggest part. She is only 21 years old. The next billionaire entrepreneur mogul, Miss Hailie Marie.
Thank you for having me.
Was that good?
was a really, I need to live up to the expectation. The standards are set high.
No, listen, I mean, but you're definitely, in a great space to do that. So how are you?
I'm really good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you asking. So when I do have these conversations, obviously we want to find out as far as obviously what you do, as far as an entrepreneur, all the different the tips and tricks and everything, and also your daily routine. But before we do that, we need the backstory.
Okay.
We need literally, because you've been about an entrepreneur for about a decade, right? Almost?
Yeah, I was doing entrepreneurial things in elementary school.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And I wasn't even thinking about that in elementary school. I was just literally thinking about just girls and coloring and all that stuff. So she was way, way ahead of me when it comes to that. So please, the floor is yours as far as your beginnings. Go ahead.
Well, thanks for having me again. I'm
Absolutely.
super excited to be here.
Yes.
So I guess starting off, I've always kind of just had an entrepreneurial spirit, I guess. Since I was a little kid, I would be making arts and crafts, and when I was in elementary school, I was making clay charms and selling them on YouTube, and was making $500 a month selling charms on YouTube. I would edit the videos, post them.
At what age?
I was in elementary school. I was in 6th grade.
What?
So I was really young, yeah. But I really enjoyed crafts. And then the entrepreneurial spirit in me was how can I make money doing this? Because they were just sitting there. So started posting on YouTube and was making money doing that. I think that kind of was when I was knew I just had something in me that my brain just worked that way.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From a very young age. And then I went to high school and I started doing UGC. I accidentally stumbled upon it. I had a friend who did drop shipping.
What's UGC?
It's user generated content.
Okay, got it.
So basically I would film ad campaigns for other people's companies.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter your social media following, none of that. It was just, here's a video, go run it as an ad.
Got it.
And one of my friends was like, hey, can you make a video for me of my eyelash serum? And I was like, sure. You'll give me $100. Yeah, I'll make a video for you.
And what camera were you using?
My iPhone.
Oh, wow. iPhone what?
I don't know. It might have even been an
Back
iPod.
in the day,
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, got
It
you.
was something.
I got you.
It was
got
not
you.
good at all. And so I made the video, and come to find out, it made him millions of dollars. And he was like, listen, you have something that I don't know what you just did, but you just generated me so much money.
Wow. I
need you. So I started doing commercials and ad campaigns for him. And then that kind of introduced me into the world of creatives, you know? I always liked being on camera, and I started to kind of understand the back end of how to make content convert for other people. So after I did it for myself, I kind of got tired of it, and I was like, okay, let me just create an agency where I tie the creators to the brands. Because now I have all these brand connects, and I have all these creators.
Wow.
So I started posting on Twitter or X and all these different things. Got a network of creators. I already had the network of brands, and then I kind of was just playing middleman for everyone. Scaled that up to 20K a month in high school. Still going to school.
No, wait. First of all, I'm about to just get up off this chair right now.
Don't do that.
No, I might need to.
No.
So wait. In high school, you were making $20,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we continue, I have this one
Okay.
question for you, okay? Let's just backtrack just a little bit. You have an entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yes.
So clearly there has to be something or someone, maybe like, I don't know how, like, were you raised by your parents?
Yeah. Yes.
Both of them, mother,
Yes.
father?
Yep.
So where did this entrepreneurial spirit, where did it come from? Because being at such a young age and understanding like your process and also like what you're doing,
Yeah.
you know, like you have to have some type of like, you know, support system.
Yeah.
So talk about that real quick.
So my dad was in the military. So growing up, like we were always moving. We were all over the place. So he was in the military from as little as I could remember. And then my mom was just a stay-at-home mom. So I don't really know exactly where it came from. Both my parents are really hard workers.
Okay.
So I think maybe I just found something that I was really passionate about and then took their hard work and that kind of played a role.
Because it supported you, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Like they didn't really understand what I was doing, but like they didn't really ask questions. So I
Yeah,
was like, okay,
yeah.
like this is fine. It's a safe space, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
My sister was always like kind of the same way, like very like entrepreneurial. Like she worked at like a gym, but she was always doing things on the side. And I think that probably was like gave me the vision that I could do something different. You know what I mean?
How much older was she?
She's 7 years older.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I always wanted to be like her. I always wanted to like hang out with her, like, you know. So I think it was a combination probably of all of those together.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just need to ask that. So, okay, so we're back to high school.
Yes.
Go ahead.
$20K a month, UGC agency. Scaled that up. COVID hits. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm on to online school.
Here we go.
This was like the pivot point for me.
Got you.
Went to online school and I was like, something about me is like when I know there's something that needs to be done, I have to do it, or else like I don't know, it stresses me out. So all of these classes online are always there. They're not locked. Like you can finish your whole entire school like in a couple days if you wanted to technically.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
you have access to it all. So I realized I was like, okay, I don't think we're going back to school anytime soon.
Probably not.
It's about to be summer.
And what school we're talking? Like
High
what-
school.
High school. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
And where in what high school? Like where was it?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't think I'm going back to school anytime soon. Let me just like knock all of this out, try and graduate early. So I graduated a year early. And once I graduated, I had just free time. So I would come across videos on social media about Airbnb while I was still doing the UGC. And that's kind of the clicking point, I guess, where I was like, I was seeing it and I had some money saved up. So I was like, maybe this is my next thing.
And what year was that? That was what, 2020, 2021?
That was 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's actually very interesting because with the Airbnb world, obviously it took a crazy hit like
Yeah.
during like the pandemic.
Yeah.
So what did you see in the Airbnb space that you knew that you had to actually, you know, pursue that? Because with me, I probably would have never done that because it's like, yo, like, I don't know where
It's gonna
this
go.
is going to go.
Yeah.
So like, what exactly did intrigue you to actually go all 10 toes down on that?
I think it was a combination of feeling like I knew the potential. Like I know Airbnb. I truly don't think it'll ever go away. I know travel will never go away. And I think during COVID, it was really weird because yes, Airbnb numbers were probably statistically down,
Yeah.
but people were still traveling.
Okay.
People were going overseas. People were going on a staycation. Like
Legally or illegally.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. They were going somewhere.
I got you. Yeah. Facts.
And
yeah.
so I thought it was like kind of interesting because in the midst of like all this crazy stuff going on, there still was the same one thing still happening, people traveling. So I thought it kind of was a good time when like maybe other people would be scared to go in, that I should just go all in. And that's kind of,
As
I
you
don't know.
said, what was the thing that you just said? Like, you know, when you see something that needs to be done, you go ahead and do it.
Yeah. So I just was like, I kind of saw it as an opportunity to like capitalize on maybe when people are scared, usually they're not going to do it. Like
Yeah.
COVID, who knows what's going to happen? The world's like shut down. No one was really investing in that. So there was even more opportunity for me because no one else was really doing it. So I think that definitely helped like catapult everything.
Wow. So, okay. So we're back at, so like 2021.
The end of
correct, right?
2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so this is actually very, very, you know, important when it comes to like this process right here. So, okay. So you have the Airbnb idea.
Yes.
What was your first move that you needed to do in order to pursue that?
So I had the idea through social media, and then I kind of just watched YouTube videos.
Okay.
Like I watched YouTube videos, I watched TikTok videos, as much like free knowledge as I could. I didn't like invest into any like mentorships or anything like that.
Got it.
I just like wanted. In the beginning stages, I didn't really know where it was going to go. I always think of business ideas. I'm like, oh, I could do this or do that. And like, how many times do you really act on them? Probably not really. But I saw this and I was like, okay, I think there's opportunity here. So I would just research so much like TikTok, YouTube, take notes. And then really like, I think what happened was I just started doing it. Even though I was very unqualified, I just started like cold calling people. And did I know what I was doing?
Who exactly were you cold calling?
Landlords, property management companies.
Got it.
So I think just like throwing myself into something that I had no clue about was the best way to learn.
Let's talk about the first cold call that you actually had.
Gosh.
Here we go. Let's do it. I want to. We need to hear this. Yeah. Come on.
I'm so embarrassed.
It's all good. It's a safe space.
It was like, okay, so I remember I chose a market.
Okay.
So I chose Austin, Texas because I wanted to move to Austin when I graduated. Well, after I graduated, I was like wanting to move there. So I was like, what better place? And Texas like wasn't really shut down as much. You know, it was kind of different over there. So I started outreach there, and I originally started with email outreach. So I just like came up with a template of what I thought you should say and what I kind of gathered from social media and started sending it to leads. And then when I send it through leads, people start saying, oh, call me, or oh, do this. So I remember the very first one. It was for like a C-class building, so like not necessarily your ideal Airbnb. Kind of was like an older building. And I was like, what better way to start than maybe this one? Because like the standard isn't too high. It's not like a luxury building where like, you know, I thought that was a little more intimidating.
Got you.
So I just called them. I was in my room. I called them on my phone, and they were like, hi. I was like, hi, this is Hailie. We've been conversing over email. I'm calling about a corporate lease. You know, we've been discussing your availability. And she goes, oh, yeah. So all we need is like your business history, your business credit, 3 times the rent. And I literally,
oh my goodness,
I literally was like this. I was like, oh, like in my head, I'm panicking because I'm like, I don't even have an LLC at this point. And I just like didn't know what to say to her. So I literally was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like I'm getting a phone call. Like, can I call you? Never called her back. Never called her back. Never called her back. And like, I still think about it till this day. I'm like, maybe I should call her and like see what's up.
I'm pretty sure she'll take your call again.
Yeah,
and your business now. Maybe
she will.
Yeah,
I think I qualify now.
Yeah.
But I literally didn't know what to say. And I was in such a panic that, like, that's the only thing I could think of. Like, I was so uncomfortable. I was like, I need to hang up. How do I hang up? Sorry, someone's calling me. Like, can I call you back? And that's all she wrote.
So when it comes to, like, you still had the other business, the agency at the time?
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, I've always believed that you can do everything in this world, but you can't do it all at once. So where was the moment for you where it's like, you know what? It's time for me to go all in on this Airbnb company versus like my agency, because you made a lot of money with that.
Yeah.
You know, so like when was that moment for you?
I totally agree. Like for starters, like when you spread yourself too thin, like everything you'll start to realize it everywhere. I'm sure you can relate. Like we were talking about the podcast, like you're not as yourself, you don't give as much. So I think when I realized I was going to take it seriously was probably when I got my first yes. That's when I was like, okay, maybe I need to like step back from the agency. And I kind of was like already burnt out. Like mentally, I think I kind of was checked out of the agency a little bit.
Got it.
Like
what made you checked out from that agency?
I don't know. I just think it wasn't like really fun anymore. Like
was it just redundant? Like was it just like same thing over and over and over? Because there is obviously there's creativity in the agency as far as creating content and all that, but like I'm hearing that you said that within the creativity, there is a little bit of redundancy. So like, you know, just dive into that just a little bit.
I think I was more so when I started, I was the one doing the content. So when I started the agency, I stepped away from the creative aspect of things. And I handed that over to the other creators. So I think for me, I enjoyed it so much because I enjoyed being creative.
I got you.
And then when I took that role away and gave it to the creators, I was bored. And like, yeah, I was making really good money, but I was like, okay, I'll keep doing this until I find something else. And that's when I stumbled upon Airbnb, and I was like, okay, now's probably a good time to kind of, you know, step out of this a little bit and then go all in. When I got my first 3 yeses, that's when I completely shut down the agency.
Got it.
It wasn't even like a gradual, like once the contracts ended, obviously, that I had, I ended it.
And then where was those 3 yeses as far as like the properties?
Austin, Texas.
All of them were Austin, Texas.
Yes. In the same complex.
Really?
At the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't even have an apartment of my own. So it was like kind of
be like that sometimes.
It was kind of weird. I was like in my like parents' like house, like in my bedroom, and I was just signed 3 leases, and I don't know. It was a very strange point of my life, but I was like, it just feels right. Like I was scared, obviously, but it just felt like I had been working, for about a month on outreach before I got the yes for the 3. So it just felt like everything was leading up to that point to get those 3.
So those properties, you were basically at a point where you were managing them, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so you didn't buy them.
No.
Okay,
I do arbitrage.
Got it.
So I rent them, not own.
So talk to me about what the meaning of arbitrage is.
Okay. So arbitrage is basically when you don't own something. So it's like I'm renting it from, say you're a landlord. You have a house. You're renting it. I come to you and I say, hey, can I rent your property for corporate short-term leasing? You say yes. So now the lease is under my business name, but then I turn around and I re-rent it.
Got it.
So it's not like I physically own the property, which is great because at 19 when I started, I didn't have enough.
Can you say that one more time, please? 19.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I didn't have the money to buy a house. I was still living at my parents'.
Yeah, of course.
So there was arbitrage is a very beginner friendly way to 1, start a business, but 2, invest in real estate.
Got it. Okay. Talk to me about your first your first rental client that you had within these properties. Like
the first guest I hosted?
Yeah.
I actually very vividly remember this.
Perfect. There we go.
Traumatizing.
Traumatizing?
Yeah.
Why?
So remember how I said they're C-class buildings? So obviously you're going to attract a different clientele.
Of course.
Rather than a luxury building.
Got it.
The budget's a little higher.
Got it.
So I listed all 3 properties at the exact same time. So I created all the listings. They all went live at the same time. And I kind of was that was the moment of is this going to work? I just spent the last 2 weeks. I flew to Austin. I ordered all the furniture. I maxed out credit cards, all of this stuff. Is it going to work?
Going for broke.
Yeah. I was broke.
Yeah.
I was already there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just okay, this is the moment of truth. Is it going to work? And then they all got booked for that same night. So it was 0 to 100 really, really quick. And I was
0 to 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instantly.
Wow.
Yeah. So 3 properties. 2 of the guests, everything was fine. The 3rd guest.
It's always a third. It's always a third charm. It's always the 3rd person.
I know.
Jesus.
So I had no experience hosting. So I didn't really know red flags to look for or kind of how you're supposed to vet people.
Okay.
I just kind of was oh, I got a booking.
Let's
I'm accepting it.
Yeah,
because
of course.
I'm broke.
Yeah.
I want it.
I got you.
And so I accepted the first 3 that I got. And then the first 2 were fine. 3rd one was a little weird. Okay. He was checked in, and I'm not going to lie, on the Ring cameras because they're outside, but I'm just this is my first guest I ever hosted. So I'm do they get in okay?
Of course.
I'm trying to see what is everything fine? And I start seeing him come back and forth to the unit a lot of times. I have 40 Ring notifications, and it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And I'm it's a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're hosting
how much traffic are you?
Yeah,
having?
What are you doing?
Yeah,
why are you going? Why do I have 40 notifications?
Yeah. Was he like a serial killer or Dexter or
close enough?
Okay. All right.
So I look at the cameras and it's just moving his whole. It looks like his whole entire house is being moved into a 1-bedroom apartment. Keep in mind, 1-bedroom apartment as in 500 square feet, so not that big. Brown cardboard boxes, plastic boxes, a cat, a whole tool set, those metal tool, the big ones,
the big ones,
moving that in there, everything. Okay, so I wake up, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm I'm a little nervous about this.
Yeah.
So I just was talking to my friends, and I was I don't know, what do you think about this? Do you think it's weird? Because it is normal for people to stay at Airbnbs in the middle of moving. You know what I mean? So I was maybe he's moving some of his stuff.
But your gut is your teller of all your tales.
I know that intuition was not lying.
Yes, ma'am.
It was not lying.
Okay.
So I was no, this just feels wrong. So I called one of my friends who was living in Austin, Texas, because I wasn't even living there. I just flew there to stage them, and then I went back home. So now I'm like in Florida while this is happening. And I called my friend who was living there, and I was like, hey, like in the morning, do you mind going over to the unit? Because he was supposed to check out the next day.
Okay. Got it.
So it's like he's not staying for an extended period of time.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So he was like, yeah, for sure, whatever. So the next morning he goes, knocks on the door, no one answers. Knocks on the door, no one answers. It's now after checkout time. So checkout's at 11.
And he hasn't checked out yet.
He hasn't checked out.
Okay.
So at this point, again, this is my third guest. I don't know what I'm doing, really. So I was like, at this point, I think it's considered trespassing. Here's the code. Just open up the door. Like, don't walk in there, but, like, open up the door and, like, see kind of what's going on. There's a machete on the kitchen counter.
Nah.
I swear.
No.
I swear. No. I swear. I'm not lying. I wish I was. Like a machete on the counter, okay? And this man is steaming the floorboards of the whole entire apartment. Also, it's like, okay, so there's like a little tiny hallway by the kitchen. This high of all of his stuff. You can't even walk inside of it. The dining room chairs are on the couch. It looks like, I don't know what he was doing in there. But he was steaming the floorboards, and there was a machete on the kitchen counter.
What was he gonna do?
I don't know. I don't know.
So what was the next step after that? Like you just like, hey, listen, you need to get the fuck out of here.
So
like,
basically, my friend is calling me, and he's like, "This is the situation." He's sending me videos, and I'm like, of course, just my luck. Like, this is what's happening to me right now. Like, I don't even know what to do in this situation. So I was like, we call the cops, probably, right? Yeah. Don't you think? And he was like, let me try and get him out on my own. Okay. Before we get the cops involved.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like, you don't want to escalate too quick.
I'm like, that's a good idea. Like, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was like, I'm not there, though. So let me know what you need from me. Like, you know, let's try and figure this out. So he ends up talking to the guy, and he's like very, like, not manic, but like
weird?
Weird. Yeah. Like I don't know if he was like going through something or like, I don't know, but he was like, he seems very off.
Got
it.
The
way he was speaking, his body language, his tone, obviously like steaming the floorboards, kind of weird.
Yeah.
And so eventually he started talking to the guy, and the guy was like, I just got fired from my software company, and my car got stolen. I lost all of my credit cards. I'm in the process of moving. So my friend basically, moral of the story, ended up moving all of the stuff out of the Airbnb into a car that he rented. Okay. And was it.
It sounded like he was about to off himself.
Yeah, probably. That's not funny. But, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it was traumatizing.
No, I got you. So, okay. So, as I always like to look at things as half glass full versus half glass empty.
Same.
Now, even though it was traumatizing, there's a lot of things that you learn from that.
Yes.
So, let's talk about the process of vetting people before they get into your properties. Like, what is your process? What does that look like? What qualifies people to stay there? What, like, you know,
red flags?
What red flags? Anything like that? Yeah.
So there's like a lot I've learned, obviously. 2 years hosting, I have seen quite literally every possible scenario.
Really?
Most likely.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
probably.
Okay.
Knock on wood. I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna leave
so
here.
There's crazier moments.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, we're definitely gonna get into that. Okay,
I'm gonna leave here and be like, actually, I lied. This just happened.
Like, by the way, can we run back the podcast?
Can we edit that part?
Yeah.
Hopefully not. But
I got you.
So vetting guests is like so. In the beginning, like I said, I kind of was just hosting anyone. Like if I got an inquiry to me, I was like, that's money. Like why would I kind of just thought Airbnb did the vetting for you. You know what I mean? Which they propose it in that way, but really they just get...
So they don't really deep dive as well as you need to.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
So it wasn't until probably like, I would say middle of last year that I really started switching how I was vetting guests because of all the crazy stuff that was happening. This was when I was like, okay, there has to be an easier way to make sure I'm getting like ideal clientele. Yeah. Because then it was affecting like my relationship with the leasing offices, and like they were threatening to kick me out, and I was like, this is...
And that's another thing too that we also want to talk about, like the balance of relationships that you have to have. Yeah. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But my bad. I'm jumping over there. Yeah, because that's even there, which I can actually relate to you, because me being a luxury concierge host, when things happen like with clients and also with venues, like I have to have the best interest of the client, but also with the venue. Yeah. Because I would rather replace the client than the venue, because it's hard to replace the venue. But go ahead.
No, it is. I get it.
Yeah.
Vetting. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of all this crazy stuff was going on. I was like, there has to be a better way to do this. So I kind of use Airbnb as a blueprint. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Got it.
when you get an Airbnb on inquiry, it will tell you don't see any profile pictures or anything like that. It's just you see their reviews. So if you have 5 stars, it shows you how many reviews they have. It tells you where they live, like where they're from. And then if their ID and phone number are verified.
Got it.
So originally I was just accepting anyone. No ID, no phone number. I didn't.
You was living life in the fast lane.
I was living life on the edge. Yes, I was. I was like, no
chips.
ID? That's okay.
Okay.
You can come.
Come on in. Yeah.
Like, the door is open.
I got you. It happens. It is what it is.
Life lessons.
Yes, ma'am.
Life lessons.
Yes, ma'am.
So then I was like, okay, this is like the bare minimum. So I only accept people who have 5-star reviews. You can have like 4.5 if like your review is like really old. Like, say it's like a 2-year-old review. Okay. And you have like 10 new ones that are all 5 stars. To me, stuff happens. Okay. Like, cool. You know, maybe you checked out late and your host was a Karen. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? So I really look at the reviews. I look at when they created their Airbnb account. If it's like created in 2025, I don't know why. I understand people are new to the platform. Yeah. But to me, it's just something I usually don't accept. Okay.
Because maybe they started like a new account because maybe the old account got some banned or some red flags.
Exactly.
And there's things that you have to like, be accounted for.
Yes. Yeah.
Or so to account for.
That's usually like a red flag. And then obviously the bare minimum ID verification. So I was doing all that through Airbnb. And then maybe like 4 months ago, I started using a platform. It's called Superhog. Okay. They do extensive research, like verification on your guests. So if someone books a property at mine, you have to do the ID verification through Superhog.
I see.
In order to get the codes. Oh, you won't even get the codes or nothing unless you do it.
Okay. And Superhog is an official partner of Airbnb, or is it third party?
It's a third party.
Okay, got it.
It's just a platform you can use.
Got it.
But they like integrate together.
Okay, cool.
So if a guest say you booked my place, you get an automated message saying, "Hey, make sure you complete the Superhog link ID verification to get your code," kind of thing.
But not every single host has Superhog.
No, it's optional.
Okay,
It's an additional vetting
Understood.
thing, and it kind of just gave me more peace of mind. Like,
yeah. Definitely.
After everything that was happening, I was like, "This is not."
Yeah. Because I remember one of your posts on your reel is like, one of the things that you learned is I forgot the first part, but delegation.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That was one thing. I was like, okay, this can be better, and it can be better done by somebody else. So who is that somebody else? And that's kind of how. But now it's like I have a good system in place. We do the ID verification. We only accept, obviously, the criteria I told you earlier on Airbnb, and so far, so good.
So how do you balance the relationships between all these people, like you being the host, the client, and then also with the leasing people and like the apartment, because that can actually have sometimes, because like you have to make sure that the host is having a great, not the host, the client's having a great experience. You want to be there for them, have that white glove, approach as far as taking care of them. But there's certain things that needs to be having boundaries, if that makes sense, because you have to keep the relationship with the property management. So it's like how do you balance all of that?
It's really hard, honestly. Like it really took time, honestly, I would say, to like figure out the balance. Because I would notice like a lot of times I want to be on like the guest side because I'm in my head, they're the ones who are paying me. You know what I mean? But then on the other side, I'm like, okay, but I wouldn't have this opportunity if it wasn't for the leasing or the property management. Yeah. And when things would happen or they're like, oh, your guest left glass up on the rooftop, which you can't have glass on the rooftop. I have to make sure I enforce that to my guests to make sure that they're the best guests so I don't get in trouble by leasing. So it's kind of like a fine line, but I think what works best is when the leasing is willing to work with you as a team.
Got it.
When you approach it as like, hey, I just signed 12 leases, okay? I'm giving you a lot of money every single month. How can we work together? We're a team. We're not working against each other. So I started to kind of form it in that way of like, we're a team with the leasing. Yeah. So if they're like have any issues, like, hey, we've noticed like parties at the rooftop. Can you please reinforce no additional guests on the rooftop or only one additional guest?
Got it.
So I think when I pitched it in that way of like, hey, we're a team.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make your job easy. There's going to be bumps in the road. How can we work together? And then that kind of made it easier for me to help the guest as well, because I know what rules I need to really push for the guest.
Got you.
And then it's kind of just, it works out that
So
way.
here's a one question before we continue. Out of all the times where you had to protect the relationship of the property leasing and also the clients too, because they actually may come back and they actually may get other, they may book your other places as well. How much money did you take on the chin when it comes to like, damages or anything like that? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, I do. I actually don't think that's ever really happened.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's times when things happen, like you had the client pay for it. You never had to pay it for you because maybe the client was like contesting it. It's like, no, I'm not going to pay for this because da-da-da.
Yeah.
But then also too, you want to keep the relationship of the property. So it's like, let me just pay this real quick. Let me make sure they're good.
Call it quits.
Yeah. So that's never happened.
No, not really.
Okay, good.
I think the reason being though is because usually with these hyper situations, like very intense, I don't ever host them again. So it's kind of just like, it doesn't matter.
You wash your
if
hands
we
with
have,
it, and
like,
it is what it is, and you move on.
Yeah.
You get the next
you're on
client.
the blocked list on my Airbnb.
Got it.
So I think that's kind of why. But usually if it's like small things like, oh, someone broke a glass and the guest doesn't want to pay it, you have the support from Airbnb. They will pay you out regardless if the guest pays you or not. That's covered in like their host.
Okay.
Host support. Yeah.
Well, that's dope. Okay.
So if you have any like issues, Airbnb is like the middleman, kind of. Like if the guest says that they didn't dirty your linens, but you have proof that they did, that they were clean when they checked in and dirty when they checked out, Airbnb will just pay you.
Okay.
So it kind of alleviates the tension between you and the guest in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't care if you pay it.
Yeah.
Airbnb will pay me.
Yeah. So we've been, talking a little bit about as far as like your first 3 properties that you have, but then now fast forward, you have a total of 57, correct?
Yes.
So how in God's name did you get from 3 to 57? Because that's like super. First of all, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
You're definitely, doing an amazing job, and you're going to be having 57 more properties. But
Oh.
where is the process, and how do you handle within your jurisdiction as far as getting from 3 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 30, etc.? So walk through that process of having that ultimate process of scaling.
I think that's where a lot of people mess up is the scaling, because they can go really good or really bad. And I think I did it at an appropriate, I definitely did it faster than normal. But I think really just like I did everything until I had 13 units. I did all the guest communication. I found all the leads. I furnished them. I didn't have no employees at all. I was doing everything.
Okay.
So I knew that business like in my sleep.
Got it.
I could tell you what needed to be done.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Got it.
So I think that's really what helped. I understood every single process, every single aspect. Anything that could go wrong, I most likely knew the answer to. And if I didn't, I kind of had experience to figure it out. So I think that helped. And then in terms of scaling, once I had the first 3, I was like, it's kind of simple. Like the business
Rinse,
model.
wash, repeat.
Yeah.
Rinse,
The
wash,
business
repeat.
model is just the business model. I figured it out. I got my first 3. They work. I did my market research, my deal analysis, the numbers checked out, furnished it. That's it. If I want to make more money, I just need more units.
Yeah.
So once I got those first 3, that's when I was like, okay, this is definitely sustainable to scale. I'm doing it all on my own now, but I can definitely see myself hiring people down the road to delegate different tasks. So once I got my first 3 in September of 2022. And then December of 2022, I had 13. I signed 10 at the same apartment complex.
Okay, so I think the trick is to, if you are going to be being a host for Airbnb, for the arbitrage, it's not necessarily about getting different properties everywhere. It's more about trying to get as much properties within the same unit. Is that the trick or no?
I think that's a cheat code.
Okay, that's cheat code. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Because like a lot of people will get a single family house in, let's say, Miami. Okay, you're making $4,000 a month profit. That's amazing. Maybe $4,000. But like scaling within houses is a lot harder than scaling within apartments. The odds of me coming to you and you having 5 houses for me to rent is kind of very unlikely.
Yeah, no.
But if I go to
apartments,
if I go to a property manager, I'm like, hey, what's your vacancy? How many units do you have available? We have 15. All right, I want them all. and I want 2 months free. They're going to be like, it's easier to scale. So that's kind of where I have felt like I fit in. Is my thing is apartments, townhomes. I also have 4 townhomes in the same little complex.
Okay.
The guy who built them, he has 12 and I have 4 of them that I do Airbnb in.
Dope.
So I think like finding a market and then dominating within that market is what's worked for me. And it's also helped me scale a lot quicker. Because once you're in a market, you know cleaners, you can have the same cleaners. Systems and operations are a lot easier when it's in the same little circle rather than one house in Nashville, one house in Miami, one house in...
You're too spread out.
You're too spread out. You have different teams. It's a lot more
and then you
headache.
And then you probably have to hire, especially if you're scaling to have like multiple properties. If you're doing the initial what we're talking about, you need to hire one person to maybe for each one, as opposed to you can maybe just hire one person for multiple in the same vicinity.
Yes. Like a person on the ground.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, I got you.
Especially if you're operating remotely. Because that's another thing. A lot of people are like, a lot of people are too scared to operate remote. But
why do you think is that? What do you think?
Because the fear of not being there.
Yeah.
Not being able to
That's kind of like the thing with me. Because
really?
I'll be very honest. Like, I've been thinking about getting to Airbnb, but like for me, like I always try to be as omnipresent as possible. But obviously, like you can't be everywhere you can't be everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
But for me and my concierge, like the reason why people pay me the big bucks is because of that personal touch of me taking care of them. Yeah. So it's like, for me to be an Airbnb, it's more so of it's a fear within me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if I'm not there in Austin, Texas to take care of something goes wrong, I can't take care of it right away. I don't even necessarily want to deal with that. So how did you deal with that anxiety?
Building teams. Like my teams are like my teams are the backbone. My cleaners, my VAs, my handymen, my check-in ladies, everyone. Like without them, it would not work. So I think it took time, obviously, because I'm a perfectionist. I'm the same way. I want to do it. If it's not done by me, I feel like it's not done right. And that's probably a really bad mindset to have. Well, but like, I just like to be involved. I like to do it, you know, which I'm sure you can relate. And then you take that away. It's like, okay, it gets to a point where you can't do it. You can't do it all yourself. When I had 13, I was like, okay, I'm either 1, gonna lose my mind, or 2, lose my mind.
Yeah. No facts. No.
So definitely. I had to hire people, and that's what allowed me to scale at the end of the day is like building teams, because I couldn't do it by myself.
So when it comes to scaling and then also being able to, be as successful as you are, but then you have like another aspect of it of being how young you are about being successful. Yeah. So I remember one of your posts, like, one time I believe like you made about $157,000 honestly in 1 month with all your properties. Yes. Give or take, right?
I think the video was 180, but yes.
Oh, excuse me.
No.
Oh, whoa.
No,
okay.
No.
My bad.
No.
Wait a minute. She checked the shit out of me. Excuse me, sir. No. Add $30,000 on top of that. Put some respect on my name.
No, I didn't mean it like
Queen,
that. But
I apologize. Like, oh my goodness. Talk your shit.
No, but yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So with
funny.
that being said, do you find yourself a little bit out of place as far as being so successful and being so young at the same time?
Yeah, 100%.
With your peers?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
I think I'm still dealing with it.
Okay, so talk about it.
I don't know. I just like, even when I was younger, I've always been like really mature. My sister was older than me. Like I would be at parties hanging out with like the parents. That's not normal. Like, you know what I mean?
Got it.
I'm not hanging out with the kids. I'm like talking to the parents about something. Like, so I've always just gravitated towards like people older than me. Like I felt more like I could talk to them better. Yeah. When they were older. Got it. That makes sense.
Got it.
And then I think with the business, it kind of gave a different aspect, because now it's like people respect me differently, because they're like, oh, like she knows what she's doing. She makes a lot of money. Yeah. Like, but also it's kind of hard because a lot of people my age I do not relate to at all.
No,
like
I hear you.
It's really hard for me to have like friends my age, because like I have my best friend, which like she's my age, and we do like 2 completely different things. And to me, it's like we don't need to be doing the same thing to be friends. Got it. But there is some part that we don't relate to. Like, you know what I mean? Like just because of the
different
business.
walks of life.
Yeah,
honestly.
Which it's fine,
Yeah.
obviously, but it is something that it's hard. Like, all of my friends are way older than me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is that with your like? How is that process or that navigation when it comes to relationships?
How much time do we have?
We got enough time. Because here's the thing. I'll be very like you know what? I'm not gonna speak for you. Go ahead.
I
you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to? So okay, I'll say this. So
I'm interested from your
my perspective, number one, from a 21-year-old man and a 21-year-old woman, usually like as far as like the brain function and obviously the maturity, it's like not even just added with like being entrepreneurial, it's already different. Like usually women are more mature. But now since you are a successful 8-figure entrepreneur, it's like, okay, it may be difficult to actually maybe relate or even to be in a relationship with a man who is 21 years old so you can respect.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're like 10, 20, 40 times more successful than the average Joe when it comes to that age.
Yeah.
But then it's like you maybe want to go a little bit older, but maybe that can also have its problems as well too. Because I'm telling you this right now, like finding a person that makes the type of money who is successful as you are in any age group is somewhat of a task.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's
hard. Yeah.
I just, in all honesty, will probably not end up with someone my age. Like, like intellectually, I cannot. Like, I need to like, we need to like talk. Like, what are we doing?
They
like,
need to be able to relate to you.
Yeah. Or just we don't need to be doing the same thing.
No,
you
facts,
don't need to be an entrepreneur, but like mental maturity. Like I thrive off of like mental, like if we can really like just have a conversation.
But can you date a man that makes $35,000 a year?
I knew this question was coming.
Can you?
I don't.
Listen,
no.
Okay, no.
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Just because, like,
Why?
my lifestyle. I like to travel.
Okay.
I like to spend money.
Okay. Got it.
And, like, I feel like I could support somebody in that way, but then it's just like, I don't respect you, kind of.
Here we go.
Like,
yeah.
Like, it's just really hard for me, and I know it sounds really bad, but, like, for me to take someone serious, if, like, I feel more masculine than you.
I hear you.
Because I have to be kind of masculine. Like, I
hear you. Yeah.
I work really hard. I make a lot of money. I have a lot of business deals. Like, so naturally, I think on that side of things, I'm more masculine.
Yeah.
So it's
going to take a very, very special individual for them to put you in your feminine.
Exactly. And that's what I want, because it's just like, I'm tired.
You're tired.
Like.
So since you are tired, right?
Yes.
Right now, I got a quick question. For the right man, would you give it all up?
I don't think the right man would make me give it up.
Oh, here we go. You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
I think maybe I could scale back.
Okay.
But for me, I like, whether I'm fully supported or not, I always want to do something. I would like to not have to like do it for like, oh, I have to pay my bills this month.
Yeah.
I would like to just do it for fun.
Yeah, I got it.
In that aspect, and then I could scale back. I don't need 57. Maybe I can have 15.
Yeah.
And I still get to do something for fun, but it's not like, oh, I'm doing it because we have $50,000 in bills to pay this month.
No, I hear you. I hear you. So are you looking for a man that is 50-50, or you're looking for a man that is your, I don't want to say authority, but like, I guess like
provider. Sole provider.
Yes. The natural disposition as far as from a man and also a woman as well too.
Yeah. I have actually, maybe a little hot take.
Okay.
I don't mind splitting. Like,
really?
I really don't.
You don't mind 50-50?
No, I don't. Now, it's different because I'm young. Okay, say I have kids, then maybe it's like, if he can, which hopefully whoever I end up with can, I would like to not have to.
Okay.
But like, and maybe that's because of my experience. Maybe that's why I'm saying this. Maybe I don't actually want 50-50. But I would.
How's your parents? What was your parents' dynamic?
My dad was
sole
provided.
Provider.
Yeah,
sole
my mom stayed at home.
So your mom never paid a bill?
No.
She just handled the feminine things as far as like nurturing and taking care of kids, both
Made
of you?
sure we had good grades, had dinner.
Got it.
Which obviously I think that's what everyone wants.
I do believe
You know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I obviously, if someone's like, oh, I'll pay for everything. Okay. Like,
But then also, here's another thing, Hailie. There's a difference between me being responsible for your necessities and being responsible for your luxuries.
Exactly.
Me as a man, I'm not responsible for your luxuries.
100% I agree.
Like, if I rent, utilities, obviously hair, nails, all that stuff as far as upkeep, but like me spending $20,000 on a Birkin, I'm not responsible for that.
Yeah.
And you're
Which
not
I agree. I agree with that. And that's why, like, I feel like I always will do something because I like that. I don't like really, I'm not a super materialistic person, but I like to, if I want to go like on a trip next weekend, like I want to go on a trip next weekend.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to do that.
But you also don't want a man to be like, babe, you know what, Miss Hailie, I can't go.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear. You don't want to hear that.
Exactly. And that's where it's like, okay, well,
that's where the rubber meets the road.
I know.
Yeah.
And like the odds of like finding someone, especially my age, that can just be like, oh, okay, this weekend we're going to Cabo.
Yeah.
Like, it's not happening. It hasn't happened.
I got you.
And then you like go to a different age range. So like now it's like older 20s, late or early 30s. It's like, I don't know.
Then what's the oldest you'll go?
Probably like 30s.
30s?
Like low 30s.
So like 33, 32?
Yeah.
Okay. Because a man does not hit his financial peak until he's like 45.
Yeah. I would do like 30s.
Okay.
Anything over, I feel like I would probably be uncomfortable.
Okay. No, I understand. I understand.
Because there is like.
And also, I think your parents would feel uncomfortable as well.
Yeah. My dad would be like, oh.
Yeah. What branch he is?
Navy.
Navy? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He would not. I told him too. We were on like a trip, and I was like, Dad, like, I'm probably going to end up with someone who's like, not that much younger than you.
I'm trying to tell you.
He was like, yeah, I know. It's like, y'all could be friends.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, interesting perspective. But at the end of the day, what's for you is for you at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? As far as like that, but then also too, you have to put yourself in position in order for you to attract that. So
yeah,
you know,
it's like a work in progress. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Like I go to like networking events and like, obviously I'm
sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Real quick.
Yes.
What is the response, the first initial response when you tell people what you do and how old you are?
What the fuck? That's usually the response.
Got
it's
got it. Yeah. Okay.
What?
Okay.
Or it's just like silence for a second. They're like,
yeah.
What did you just say?
Yeah.
Can you run that back one more time? That's usually what it is. And I like feel weird telling people because I like think of myself so much more than just like
of course.
what I've achieved.
Of course.
But like obviously that's a very popular question. Like, oh, what do you do? Like, what are you doing here? Like, what's your place? It's like, oh yeah, I have 57 Airbnbs and I'm 21. They're like, oh, like you just shit on me. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, unintentionally.
Yeah. No, of course. I got you.
It's definitely an interesting like experience though. It's always different, but it's usually around like, what the heck? Like, how did you do that?
No, for real. So speaking about like your business, switch back gears a little bit. So now I've always said that when it comes to having a business, you need to become authority into your business. And then once you become an authority, then you become an offering to people. So not only with your business, as far as like people can rent out like, you know, your properties and you doing arbitrage, but now you're also teaching people how to do the same thing. So let's talk about that venture, because is that relatively new?
No, I probably would say like, so I've been doing Airbnb for a little over 2 years, the coaching a little over a year.
Okay.
So the coaching was kind of like an accident.
Okay, talk to me about it.
Promise, it actually was. September, first 3. December, 13 properties.
Got it.
End of December, I had the opportunity to speak at a conference.
Congrats.
The girl who like would skip class because there was a presentation is now speaking in front of.
Look at God.
Like, yeah, literally. Like, if you don't
like
believe,
me? You should believe. Me to speak to you guys?
Yeah. Like me. Yeah. I was 19 or 20. I was 19. I was 19, and I was like, this is kind of what I've been wanting. Like, yeah, I should say yes. So I said yes. Spoke at this event, and after that event, like the response from everyone was what kind of clicked in my brain that like, wow, people are interested in what I'm doing. They want to know more. They want to learn, and they'll pay me. So then it was like, okay, why don't I create a coaching program or a course or a mentorship? And then that's like an additional stream of income. So from December to March, I worked on building my program of just like every single aspect of like what I did and what I'm doing, and like videos and things like that. Built a course, and then March started coaching. And it's just been a ripple effect ever since. I have like 800 students now.
800 students.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we do look at from the outside looking in, as far as like teaching someone, just like I guess the ins and outs as far as like running your own Airbnb arbitrage, what are like the key tips?
So I'm like a very visual learner,
Got
and
it.
also like I need step by steps.
Got it.
So that's kind of how I created the program.
Okay.
Just because that's what makes sense in my
Yeah,
brain.
of course.
But I think the most important steps would be one, obviously creating your LLC. But let's talk broader.
Yeah.
Funding.
Okay.
I've always used the bank's like credit cards.
Other people's money,
Yeah,
OPM,
yeah.
all day.
Never
your
use
own
mine.
money. Never.
So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know that you can do that, and that it's not a bad thing to like be in debt. Like there's good debt and there's bad debt.
Yep.
So that's probably the biggest one is funding. Everyone's first thing is, well, I don't have money. How am I supposed to furnish 10 units if I don't have money? Okay, you use other people's money. So business funding, market research, deal analysis.
Okay.
That's probably number 2, because any property can be like, yes, you can Airbnb my house, but is it going to make you money? Not every yes. Just because someone tells you yes doesn't mean it's going to make a good Airbnb. You know what I mean? Location, the specs, the amenities, all of that plays a role in how good it can perform. You know what I mean? So I would say that's probably number 2. And then 3 would be like systems.
Got it.
And operations.
Okay.
SOPs, hiring teams, using different softwares, delegating, all of that. And then collectively, I would say those are probably the 3 biggest. And then you learn, and then you rinse, and you repeat.
Yeah. So I remember one of your pieces of content, you showed the apps of what you use as far as delegation. Like, lightly, discuss those as far as like the importance of them, like the top 5, not all of them. I know you had 9 of them, but like the top ones you want to talk about.
Okay. So Airbnb, so there's something called OTAs, other travel agencies.
Okay.
So that would be like Airbnb,
Got it.
VRBO,
Got it.
Booking.com,
Yeah.
all of those.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm listed on basically all of those. There's so many, but Airbnb is primarily number 1. So Airbnb. And then in terms of like the next most important thing would be a PMS system.
Got it.
Property management system.
Got it.
So there's Lodgify, there's Guesty, Hospitable. There's so many different ones. So choosing a PMS, some are better if you have like 50 units under. Some are better if you have 100 plus units.
Okay.
So like, and each of their websites like breaks that down.
Got
but
it,
finding one that fits for you. And basically what a PMS does, it's like a one place for all of your units. So I have 57, right? I don't have to go to 57 different calendars. This PMS connects every single calendar into one.
Okay.
So if I have a booking from Airbnb from today until tomorrow, and then a booking from VRBO from tomorrow till Sunday, it shows that on one calendar for every single listing.
See.
So if someone books, this calendar is instantly updated.
Okay.
So everything kind of stems from your PMS.
That's game right there.
The PMS is like make or break. You need, especially if you're having multiple units, everything is tied into that one platform. So PMS is the most important. That's how everything is possible, essentially. And then there is like, and your PMSs will do all the automated messaging as well. So all that gets sent out. Cleaners is probably the next most important. I use Turno. It used to be Turnover B&B. Basically, that's like a cleaning platform where you give access to your cleaners. You give them a link, and they have access to your calendar. So it says, hey, you have 18 checkouts tomorrow, 18 cleans. This one leaves at 11. This one has late checkout at 2. That way, I don't have to go and look and be like, oh, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cleanings. It's automatically updated. So if someone extended their stay, my cleaner would get a notification that they don't need to clean that property tomorrow.
I see. Okay.
So I would say those are probably like the most, and then important Superhog guest verification.
Yeah.
There's more fun ones like Touch Stay, where it's like a virtual guidebook. Instead of like the paper ones, when you go into Airbnbs, it's all done virtually.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, where should I go for a night out? They have a link that tells them all of my favorite bars in the area, restaurants, shopping, all of that.
Okay.
There's like a software for everything.
Got it. No, for real.
And
Wow.
you stack them together, and then I get to sit here and like have my phone away for a couple hours and not have to worry about it because I have systems and I have teams and like that's how you build it.
Yeah, relying on like, your super levels as far as like delegation.
Yeah.
Is definitely very, very key. Yeah, definitely. This has been great so far.
I know.
Yeah, this has been phenomenal. For real. All right, so we're going to do a couple more things before we wrap up.
Okay.
So my question to you is, I would like you to give me and give the audience, the Convos with Bishop audience, the craziest story that you have that you can share within your Airbnb lifespan.
I'm trying to think like which ones I can't talk about.
Yeah. And if you need to make it general. Make it general. You don't have to make it personal. Yeah.
I'm just going to say there's some actually insane ones, but like I literally can't talk about
it. I got it.
But I would say a pretty crazy one was I got a email from leasing office at like, I think it was like 8 a.m. After a weekend, I think it was Friday or something, with a video clip. And when you see that attachment on that email that it's not good.
Yeah.
So immediately I'm like, what did y'all do? Who did it? Like, what did you guys do?
Yeah.
And I mean, this happens every once in a while. It's like, a picture of a guest like on the rooftop with a glass drink or something like that.
Okay.
This time was different. This was in the parking garage, and it was a video of a guy backed up his truck into a parking spot. Okay. There's a little closet kind of thing right here where residents can store their bikes.
Okay.
Okay. You need a fob to access this, but obviously when you stay at my property, you get a fob. This man, you just see him going back and forth from this closet. 3 electric bikes in the back of his truck.
Okay.
Okay. Storms off. These weren't just any electric bikes, of course, right?
These are expensive bikes.
$10,000 each. 30 grand in bikes.
30 grand all together.
Yes, 30 grand.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 grand. So, having flashbacks.
No, it's all good. So, like I said, it's a safe space. It's a safe space. I got you.
Okay, do I cry now or later? 30 grand. Yeah. So leasing's like sends me this video and they're like, hey, like, is this your guest? So I'm like, okay, send the video to my team. I'm like, hey, let me know if we're hosting anyone who looks like this. Let me know. So we didn't see anyone at first. And then come to find out, this man, we were hosting him, someone booked the Airbnb for him. That's when the ID verification started.
Holy crap.
Someone booked the Airbnb for him. So I actually had no clue who this man was staying in my Airbnb. I knew everything about the person who booked it, but not him. So now the leasing agent filed a police report. The police were involved. The police were trying to work with me to get information on who the guest was. I sent them all my video footage. They were trying to tell me that I needed to pay $30,000 for these bikes.
Oh, nah.
So then I had to get Airbnb involved because I'm not paying $30,000 for some electric bikes. Sorry, I don't know who would or why you would, but no, not happening. Yeah. So it was a matter of like figuring out who this person was. He also, when he left, he took the parking pass and he took the parking fob. So now it's just like I have to get new ones of those. I have to change all the lock boxes. And where was it?
This is in Austin?
Yes, this was in Austin.
Okay.
Yeah. Had to get new codes, new fobs, new parking passes. And I was not in Austin at the time, so I ended up flying there because of how that's a thing with like the relationships between you and like leasing.
Yeah,
leasing was not happy.
Yeah.
They were like, this is not okay, like, at all. So I flew there. And
you had to keep that, you have to protect that relationship.
Yeah. I knew it was serious. So I was like, okay, I need to be there. I need to show face. I need to like show them that I care and like don't take this lightly. So yeah, moral of the story, Airbnb support did get involved. They ended up taking care of the payment. Police report was resolved. Me and leasing had a couple months where I felt like they hated me, but now we're back to being friends.
Yeah, it's just, I think a lot of people just don't really understand like what it takes to be like to run arbitrage as far as Airbnb. They only see like the money and like the monthly payments and everything else too, but they don't understand those type of stories. They don't understand that, you know, trying to keep their relationship, you know, with the property manager to make, or property leasing the building to make sure you can continue business over there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also times too where like, maybe you'll probably, I don't know if you have, but I'm pretty sure people have lost relationships, you know, just because of just some dumb person did some stupid stuff. And the thing is like, you got to have faith in humans at times, even though you don't want to.
Yeah,
because,
so true.
you know, it's like, you need to have like the art of compartmentalization where it's like, okay, this person was an asshole. He or she completely like messed me up, but you know what? I'm gonna keep on doing what I need to do.
That
within
doesn't
this
mean
business.
you're bad.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean I'm bad.
No facts. No facts.
But that's so true. I love that you said that, because every day, every guest you host, you're just hoping that they're gonna respect your property and respect you. So it's I mean, bad things happen all the time in every business. Everything, you know, I'm sure you've had crazy stuff happen.
Which we'll talk about afterwards.
Like, I'm
facts.
sure. But like, it's just part of it. Every business has something that's not that ideal about it, but risk, reward, it's worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's not just like, okay, I'm making $100, $150, $183,000 a month, which is great, but you don't understand the issues that can come with this. Yeah. So you have to be able to like have that stomach and have that like that goal to be able to be prepared to deal with it.
And it's every day. I'm not gonna lie.
Every single day.
It could be 2 a.m. It could be 2 p.m. You could be at the movies.
Not just, like, Hailie Marie is not just, ladies and gentlemen, Hailie Marie is not just sitting back here just collecting the dough and not doing anything.
Yeah, no, she unfortunately is doing a lot.
You know, so.
But it's worth it.
Absolutely.
It's so worth it. And it's like, I love it. Like, I actually wake up excited. Like, it's kind of weird because it's like, you never know what's going to happen. It's like, today might be really bad. Like, something really bad might happen. But it's like exciting because you never know. And also, like, I'm very confident now. Like, I've seen a lot, done a lot. I feel very confident. Just like.
And at 21, you're very, very confident. Just imagine when you're 31.
Exactly.
You know?
Unstoppable.
No, facts. No, facts. So super, super proud of you as far as what you're doing right now and everything going on. This has been a phenomenal conversation. It
has.
I appreciate your time. So I have a last segment that is called The Last Call.
Ooh,
all right. So the last call is going to be a barrage of different type of words I'm going to give you. And then you think about the word, and then you're going to give me about the first word or maybe even the first phrase that you think of.
Oh, God, I'm scared.
Ready?
I have intrusive thoughts, yes.
Let's do it. Okay. Jacksonville.
Shit.
Okay. Your parents.
Amazing.
Your sister.
Best friend.
Okay. And then you only have those two sisters. That's it, right? Okay. Your agency, your agency that you had, your first business.
Like my firstborn child.
Yeah. Okay. The first video you made.
Scary.
Okay. High school.
Interesting.
Okay. Miami.
Fun.
Yeah. Fun. Definitely. Airbnb.
Life-changing.
Love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I'm like, which way do I take this? Yeah, it's like, what do I say?
Your first booking.
Pivotal.
Okay. Relationships.
Scary as well.
Scary. Okay. Mentorship.
Life-changing.
Okay. And your mentorship business, like your students.
Fulfilling.
Your students.
Okay. Inspirational.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
I like this. This is cool.
Personal brand.
Powerful.
Okay. Traveling.
Amazing.
I feel like we could have a whole different podcast.
We could have a whole different podcast
just on travel.
We could.
We should run that back. Honestly.
New podcast?
Yeah, new podcast. Absolutely. No, for real.
That's the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, see, exactly. And the last one, Hailie Marie.
Incredible.
Now, here's the thing. How about this? Let's do a little bit more fun. You can use more than one word to describe you.
Ooh. Why is it like whenever you talk about yourself, you can't think of anything?
We hate it.
I know.
As entrepreneurs,
that's
people,
terrible.
Yeah, we can talk about anybody else, but we hate to talk about
ourselves. It's like, say one thing you love about yourself, and you're just like, I would say, how would I describe myself?
the journey, where you're going. Just if you're like literally looking like at Hailie Marie from the outside.
I would say she's just starting.
Just getting started.
Just getting started.
Perfect.
I'll keep it short but powerful.
Well, Miss Hailie Marie, a phenomenal conversation.
Yes, likewise.
Thank you so much for your time, your efforts, and also your energy. So, just need your shameless plugs as far as people where people can find you,
Okay.
your business as well too, your mentorship, everything. Floor is yours.
Okay. You can find me on Instagram at Hailie Marie. It's HAILIEMAARIE. If you follow me, you'll probably get a bunch of fake accounts, but make sure you spell it right, okay? And that is my handle on everything. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And then if you are interested in getting started with Airbnb arbitrage, I do have a mentorship program called Airbnb Takeoff. So www.airbnb takeoff, and we can help you get to $10,000 a month and more.
Boom. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Only the best.
Bye.